Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Libertad. About time! It's been a while since I've covered this ship. Given how strong it is, and it's a secondary brawling battleship, I'm rather surprised that I haven't played it much at all since the initial release of this thing. So it's about time we did again. If you need a small refresher, this is one of the most powerful battleships in the entire game right now, especially if you're interested in brawling battleships. The secondaries here are absolutely incredible, nearly the highest hitting DPM out of any secondaries in the entire game. They have great accuracy. The key though is you have some gigantic guns on this ship, 234mm HE secondaries that pen 59mm, without IFHE even. So you just have insane pen and alpha damage built into this thing. It also has surprisingly good main guns, actually. I find these main guns to be much better than something like a GK, for example. The armor is obviously much better. Our maneuverability is absolutely absurd here. The only thing we're really missing is a hydro, and you're going to see that a little bit. We take a couple torpedoes. I think it more so in the next game, perhaps. That is the one issue, but given how quickly you can maneuver, this rudder shift is very good. You have built-in acceleration, improved acceleration, so you're going to notice we kind of drift around the battlefield a lot of the time. You can dodge a lot of those incoming torps. It's surprising how many torps you can dodge, given how large this ship is. You can see from the start of this game already, the main guns are actually pretty good. 419mm guns. Yes, they don't have the best AP alpha damage. It's only 11,700 AP alpha damage, which is not amazing, obviously, but they still hit pretty hard, man. It's surprising. You have standard battleship dispersion with 1.7 sigma, which is the tendency of the shells to go towards that center of the dispersion ellipse. Given that we're running secondary builds, we're also not buffing that as much. But I'm surprised. I'm very surprised, actually, at how good these guns actually feel. You also get surprisingly solid firing angles on these main guns, as well as the secondaries. But that's something we've been talking about recently, is just how comfy is a ship to play when it has different firing angles. And 35 degrees forward, 33 degrees backwards is quite good. It doesn't mean you can just fully shoot all of your guns, though, and not get smashed by a Columbo. We hit them pretty hard in return, though. These are the two, I guess, most annoying battleships at tier 10, you could say. Columbo for its incredible sap, and Libertad for the crazy tankiness and these secondaries. Bit of a brawl here we're getting into. I'm going to angle in this time, or try to deal with the next sap salvo. And I overturn because I haven't played this ship, and I forgot how quickly this thing could turn. So we're not perfectly angled, and we eat another 30k sap salvo. We're in the enemy's cap here before the 5-minute mark. I full send in this thing, by the way. That's really the only way I can justify playing a ship this powerful and have a good time in it and not feel too bad about it. I got a full W key with a ship like this. We'll get the rear guns in, smash the Columbo. We're on 2,000, 1,000 HP double fire. Our consumables are back up, though, so we will barely survive this. And keep in mind how much we're able to drift around these incoming shells. We have a small superstructure, too, but look at how much we can move it here and avoid a lot of this extra HE pressure from this GNN. We go dark, and we're relatively safe, although there's probably more torps, so let's turn back the other way. Libertad is absolutely insane. So my whole philosophy around playing a ship like this, I just have to full send it. I can't imagine ever playing a ship this powerful at close range brawling in particular, pre-kited and waiting for the enemy team to push into me. It's probably better that way. I would probably average more damage that way if that was what I was interested in. But come on, with a ship this good, this powerful, that's just kind of sad, right? We have to full send it at these guys, even if it means we nearly die in the first 5 minutes here. I'm not firing my main guns yet, even though we're spotted. I want to wait for him to give me a little more broadside. Not full broadside, because then it's the light cruiser broadside tech at close range. And he still gets a little bit of that, although we do get the full pen. Generally at that 30-degree angle, or a little bit more broadside than that even, we're going to get much more full pens into these light cruisers. But if they're flat broadside, it's more likely to overpen. We still got quite a few of them. Our heal's back though, so just barely survive in here. And that's one of the weird things about the Libertad as well. The consumables on this ship. It has an improved heal. So instead of healing back 14% per heal of your HP, it heals that back 16.8. So not a super heal. Those are quite a bit higher. Something like Vincent is like 40%, for example, a super heal. But it also comes back quicker. It's not the full Ohio 40-second cooldown, but it's a 60-second cooldown. Typically, we see an 80-second cooldown on these ships, which I think directly made me survive this battle. With a standard 80-second cooldown, I would have just died from that initial engagement with that Columbo. We would not have gotten back to our heals. So, and this second time as well, to be honest with you, against this Jinan. It is the reason we lived here. This ship also has an F key. It keeps going, man. This well keeps going deeper here. This F key is incredibly powerful as well, obviously. Given it's a secondary battleship, that's the whole name of the game here. It buffs our secondaries. 30% extra damage. So on those big guns, those big HE secondaries, you get like a 5k alpha damage that pen 59 millimeters. So good luck dealing with that. As well as 20% more range. So we can pop it to get 15 kilometer secondary range for a time, as well as 20% better reload. These combat instructions are charged up through hitting people with your main guns, but also potential damage. You'll notice just by getting shot at, you're going to charge up these combat instructions rather quickly. You won't lose them very often either, like progress towards them, if you are getting shot at all, really. Even if you're missing your shells or something like that, if you get shot at all, you're just going to keep your progress, which is really cool. I'm going to pop them here early because the Conqueror, Wisconsin are pushing into our secondary range. So I want to build up my manual secondary aiming skill. It takes some time, like 45, 50 seconds to actually build up the full accuracy. So I want to get that started early, especially given that they will be in range by the time that 30-second combat instruction runs out. And of course, last, I also am running the Special Commander Lisboa. Unfortunately, I have no information as to when he's coming back. I'm sorry. That's kind of the way these events are right now. I've been given a lot of feedback. I don't know if they'll listen, but so many of these FOMO events, gambling events, no guarantee of actually getting the thing you want, including these commanders. The Dutch commander is one right now where we don't know when it's coming back, and Lisboa hasn't either. But he's very good. Very, very, very good on the Libertad, of course. On 150 secondary or main gun hits, you get 5% better reloads, 22% better secondary reload, and torp reload, but that doesn't impact us here. As well as, once you've used 2 combat instructions after that, you just get 5% speed on your ship, which is really good when you drift like this, as well as a permanent 20% floor to your combat instructions. We finish off the Conqueror, and now we have a Wisconsin to deal with on incredibly low HP. But we've survived up to this point, which is absolutely insane. Almost 250,000 damage. Wisconsin uses his F key as well, I believe, and he gets his reload in time. I was hoping for the broadside, the drive-by, but he played well, that Wisconsin, using his F key to shoot our superstructure and finishing us off. Still, 245,000 damage. Absolutely wild, given that we just full sent this game. I threw caution to the wind, not playing smart. We ate a ton of damage from Columbo Sap in this one, and yet it still worked out. That is the absurd power of Libertad. There's a certain enjoyment I get out of it, by the way. I understand that it's overpowered, okay? I'm not gonna make any excuses for it here, okay? But I really, really, really like being able to push in. I hate the passive meta, guys. I'm someone who finds it so boring and lame that the game purely revolves around turning out from spawn. Pre-kiting is what that means, where you instantly turn away, you reverse towards the enemy team, you load HE, you spam at whoever's spotted by the enemy carrier right away at start of match, and then you do that for 5 to 15 minutes, depending on if it's a blowout or not. It's so lame, man. I hate it so much. It makes the game so much less fun to play. So if a ship lets me, even into that meta, still push in and play the game that I want to play, I'm enjoying that. That said, though, I understand. The ship is definitely very strong. Probably too strong. We'll see if Wargaming nerfs it. No, it didn't pop up in this round of nerfs. I'm surprised it and Colombo actually haven't popped up for nerfs here sooner. But perhaps the next round, in a few patches or so. I don't know what the cadence exactly is, but we had some in fall. It was like September last year, and then the next round was January this year. So maybe there's a 4-month cadence there to rounds of buffs or nerfs on ships. Perhaps we'll see that in a couple of updates. That would be interesting to see what they do here. We instantly get our F key, by the way. Only a few hits, but more importantly, yes, it is that potential damage, getting us that F key right away for 15 kilometer secondary range. Even on ocean, guys, I'm gonna full send, okay? When I'm playing this ship, I am going to W key. That's the only way that I can feel good about playing this ship. If I'm gonna be pre-kited in a ship like this, I don't know, man. I should just be playing something else. This ship is not meant for that at all. We're also pushing up and helping our teammates, of course. Ocean is a map where there are no islands. I actually like Ocean. I know most people do not, and I can understand why, especially if you're playing light cruisers. I do not enjoy this map in cruisers at all. It is terribly unfun. It is very, very, very difficult. You basically just can't play the game if you're a light cruiser. I totally get it. But it's such a different experience, you know? A lot of these maps play so similarly. We haven't had any new maps in years, or even updates to maps in years, man. So whenever I see Ocean, because I see it so rarely, I'm excited because I know it's a different, fresh playstyle that I don't get very often. And even though we are probably going to die here rather quickly, I still got to try the full send. We almost have 2 million potential damage in the first 4 minutes, by the way. Just absurd tankiness. And if you're wondering, after playing these games, I went and played Schlieffen a bunch. I went and played Preußen, GK, Ohio. None of them come even close, not even close, to the tankiness of Libertad. None of them would be able to accomplish what this ship did in these games. Not at all. They would all die in this cap zone or even before they got to the cap zone. Way larger superstructure, way less maneuverable, way worse detection. The heals are worse on a lot of them as well. Maybe Ohio's rival it just because it comes back even faster. But this ship is absolutely crazy in what it can accomplish. So try to full send this thing, guys. It can manage it. I'm so tired of seeing people play Libertad and then pre-kite in it, man. It's so sad. Be the change you want to see. I know it's better like that, right? Like, if we're playing optimally or whatever, obviously, even Libertad, yes, even though it can do this, every ship in this game is better when people are pushing into you. Kiting is just such a powerful tool. But hey, we managed to push in and take out that Montana. 2.5 million potential damage already into this one. Not a lot of actual damage on our part. We're only at 77k. But I just gotta try pushing in, right? Ocean, full sending. I'm gonna give too much broadside here to this Montana. We're gonna take a big hit. I'm assuming I'm dead to torps, by the way, from the Shima. So let's see what our main guns can do to this Monty. He couldn't Citadel us, yet we could Citadel him, even though our guns are bad, right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. 3 million potential now at this point. Absolutely wild. Libertad is a blast, honestly. I still really, really enjoy this ship. Don't kill me for this one, but I'm glad it's in the game. Am I allowed to say that? I'm kind of glad because I miss being able to play at close range. That's the reasoning, okay? There's a bit of nuance there. If it's kited though, yeah, I can understand it. I'm frustrated with it as well. It's unkillable. You can't push it because the secondaries just melt you. What do you do against it, right? But you can push. This is the playstyle I want so badly in this game. So I'm gonna enjoy it while it's here, even though I do think, and I agree, that Wargaming should probably nerf this thing. As for the build here on Libertad, I was trying something a little bit different. As you may have noticed, I didn't have the best concealment on this ship. 14.4 is not as low as it goes. And that's because I went without Concealment Expert. I went with more heals. As you could see from the first game, I actually did use them. Sometimes you don't get through them all if you just full send W key, but with this one, you can get through them. As well as fire prevention being just incredible for any ship that's taking a lot of focus fire. Manual secondaries, of course. Secondary range, of course. Adrenaline rush being massively impactful for just insane amounts of DPM. Vigilance being our pseudo hydro gimmick, I guess, helping us spot those torpedoes a little bit sooner. Considering we're so maneuverable, it's quite useful, actually. There's quite a few torps you can actually avoid there. I didn't avoid all of them in this game, or in this video, but I avoided a lot of them. Preventive maintenance is perfect for a ship like this, considering how important our secondaries are for our damage. And wargaming still leaves permanent module destruction in this game. I do not know why, but they do. And so if your secondaries get permanently knocked out, you're just down a bunch of DPM. These are a little bit tankier than Schlieffen secondaries. That's one of the reasons that in the late game, Schlieffen can feel a lot worse, is because all your secondaries just get blown up. And there's not much you can do about it. You fully invested your ship into it, and it's useless. That's also why carriers just become immensely more powerful. Like, if they're not already overpowered, let's be honest. But they become even more overpowered late game because your AA mounts get permanently destroyed. Sure would be nice if we had something that would let us keep those alive, or at least have them heal back on a heal or a repair or something. Something like that would be interesting. We do want the full secondary builds. That's what I'm going for here. And damage control system mod 2. Yes, we were that maneuverable, drifting around that hard without using steering gears. 13.6 second rudder shift without steering gears, guys. I know this is probably the worst possible one to compare against, but you know, Monty, 22.2. Don't worry, Libertad's gonna look downright balanced once they release these experimental ships. Let me show you the armor here before I get out of here. 32, 51. It's very, very, very tanky, of course. You do have an above water citadel you got to manage, but it is so well armored and, more importantly, so well angled. Look at that. That's why you just shatter on its broadside. It's so difficult to actually citadel this thing. And of course, there is a 51 mil plate here, so it is spaced armor. There's a bit of a black hole effect going on here that shells can just disappear into. It's very tanky. It's very good. The ship is incredibly strong, but you know, maybe if we just make all the new stuff this powerful or more powerful, considering these experimental ships coming into the game, then Libertad will be balanced. That's how we balance things, right? Or we implement classified documents that's going to target, you know, specific players individually. People are going to run matchmaking monitor to grief people individually. Oh boy, it's gonna be interesting. Maybe there's some good that I'm missing out on, but for now, that is gonna do it for Libertad, and maybe I will just have to focus on individual ships and individual battles rather than the meta in this game and the direction wargaming is headed, as it doesn't look all that positive to me, and I don't want to just make videos complaining about everything all the time. Even though I probably could, I just personally would rather not. So let me know what you think in the comments down below of the future of this game. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.